They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but I prefer mine served in a tailored crimson suit, with three identical boys holding my hand, walking into the boardroom of the man who once paid me $50,000 to disappear. 5 years ago, I walked out of this exact building with a cardboard box in my arms and tears I refused to let fall. Pregnant, jobless, and branded as a manipulative seductress. My name's Aaliyah Jackson, and this is the story of how a secretary from the south side of Chicago became the woman who now owns the company that tried to erase her. I had just turned 26 when I found out I was pregnant. Not just pregnant with triplets. The father? Marcus Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore Enterprises. White, Harvard-educated, heir to a legacy. And the man who told me word for word, "You and that mixed-race bastard have no place in my life." Then he slid a check across the table, like I was a problem to be bought off. I left that office humiliated. He fired me in front of 50 executives, called security, and lied to HR about how I had used seduction for career gain. That day, I became invisible to people I had worked beside for 2 years. The same people who once laughed with me over lunch watched me leave like I was contagious. But that wasn't the end. That was the ignition. I kept the check, never cashed it, not out of pride, but because it reminded me every day what he thought I was worth. I worked double shifts until my water broke on a diner floor. Gave birth to 3 beautiful boys alone. Named one of them Marcus Jr. Yeah, I went there. I taught myself to code again between feedings and diaper changes. I resurrected my abandoned college thesis, a predictive algorithm for supply chain optimization. And when I finally got my shot with a startup incubator in Oakland, the investors were skeptical until my triplets cried during the interview. That's when I told them, if I can build this while raising 3 kids alone, imagine what I could do with help. They gave me $75,000. From there, it was a war of attrition me against the world. I coded on 2 hours of sleep, ate instant noodles while breastfeeding. I got evicted, moved into a studio above a convenience store, took calls from clients while rocking babies to sleep with one hand. And every time I thought I'd break, I remembered that mahogany desk and that check sliding toward me. When Phoenix Digital finally launched, people noticed. My software saved companies millions, and when it cut fuel usage by 38% for a major distributor, I went from that single mom with 3 kids to the woman who just changed logistics forever. But I kept my face out of the press. Let the products speak. Until Forbes came calling with their 30 under 30 list. That's when it hit me, the more visible I became, the closer I'd be to crossing paths with him again. Then one day, my phone buzzed, an invitation to speak at the National Technology Conference in Chicago. My city, his city, the place I swore I'd never return to unless it was on my terms. I accepted. What Marcus didn't know was that Phoenix Digital had already been acquiring shares of Whitmore Enterprises quietly, through shell companies. As of the morning of my keynote, we owned 51.3%. I delivered my speech in front of 2,000 people. Got a standing ovation. While backstage, I got a text from my CFO, acquisition complete. Later that afternoon, I walked into their boardroom, same one I'd been fired from 5 years earlier this time, wearing red heels, flanked by lawyers. And my sons. Marcus looked up mid-sentence. His jaw literally dropped. I watched his eyes move from me to the 3 boys and back again. You should have seen his face when Malcolm said, "Mama, that man looks like the picture of our father in your office." The room went still. He stammered something about a misunderstanding. I handed the board members DNA results, emails I'd sent years ago, birth certificates. I watched the last drops of power drain from Marcus's face like coffee down a sink. And then I told him, not asked, told, as majority shareholder, I am restructuring this board effective immediately. Mr. Whitmore will be relieved of his executive duties. The board didn't argue. They saw what he had done, and what I had built, from scratch, alone. The cherry on top? When the boys walked up to Marcus and in perfect unison asked, "Are you our daddy?" He couldn't speak. Back at the Four Seasons that night, the boys were too busy talking about dinosaurs from their museum trip to care about the bomb their mama had just dropped on the corporate world. They didn't know or care that I just bought the very company that once threw me out. To them, I was just Mama, the woman who made pancakes shaped like animals and read bedtime stories with funny voices. But to the rest of Chicago, I was the storm that returned. Marcus texted that night. "Can we talk?" I didn't answer. The next morning, I signed the final transition documents. Then I took the boys for deep dish pizza, walked them along the lakefront, and watched them chase pigeons while Marcus Whitmore sat in a boardroom, trying to understand how he lost everything without even realizing the game had begun. 5 years ago, he paid me to vanish. Now, every billboard, every investor meeting, every tech article bears my name. Aaliyah Jackson, founder, Sil, mother of 3, and the woman who turned rejection into an empire. Tell me something. If you were in Marcus's shoes, would you try to make things right? Or is some damage too deep to undo? Let me know in the comments. Right? Wrong? Redemption? What does justice look like to you?